All right, welcome back. I made a post yesterday about how I had all this junk steel, which you all should probably know about already, and I didn't know what to do with it. Well, in that post, I talked about uh, creating a. Again, I've been watching too much Lord of the Rings. Creating Uruk-hai equipment. Now, specifically, I'm talking about the sword and shield. And I figured, what better use of this junk steel than to use it for junk swords and junk shields? So, uh, I cannot promise the shield, though. I cannot promise I'll be able to get that done. It was just an idea. But the sword, I think I can do. Now, I don't know if you can see it. I can kind of get it reflecting off the light here. I kind of cut out I traced out a design into this welding steel, this little thing right here. I traced out the design of my blade into this steel, and I'm going to probably, I'm going to cut it out, and then you all probably know there's a spike at the end of most of these swords. So I'm probably going to have to weld it on, and in which case I'll just cut a spike from, maybe I'll just cut this off of here, either that or that part, but I'll just cut this and then I'll just weld it on there. So that's the plan, is that I'm just going to cut the whole thing out, and then when I'm done, the heat treat's going to be a little more difficult. I'm going to try my best to heat treat though. When I'm done, I'm going to use this same rope, because I don't have any leather. I'm going to use this very same rope, and I'm going to wrap it. So, I'm thinking this project may be a couple days long. I'm not sure. I'm hoping I could get primarily most of the major beveling and cutting done today. I don't know if I'm going to be working with the welder today, but either way, I want to do that, and then I'm going to bevel it before I weld it, and then I'm going to have to, again, I'm going to have to heat treat it before I weld that spike on there. So, anyway, it's all kind of I'm gonna try to make it come together in any way I can, but I have somewhat of a design in the blade. It's kind of hard to see. I just kind of traced it and all that rust. Normally I'd use a Sharpie. Oh, there you go. You can see it a lot better like that. Normally I'd use a Sharpie, but my Sharpie is currently out of juice. So I'm going to get this cut out. One of the most annoying things about having to do this is I don't have a torch, so I have to use an angle grinder. So it's definitely not a very fun experience, but it'll have to do. And this sword will be shorter than what they usually are in the movies, so yeah. But I just thought this would be a cool idea, and it'd be probably easy to make. Hopefully, the hardest part about this is probably going to be cutting it, because it is currently pretty warm outside, and it is the most annoying thing when you have all the grinder carbon on you and it sticks to you, and yeah, it's not fun. But anyway, I'm gonna get this cut out, and I'll get back to you when I'm there. Alright, so my mask just broke. Anyway, so I got the profile shaped out and the bevel's ground. It could be better, but you know, I'm not complaining. It looks like trash as it's supposed to, which I'm kind of happy about. But um, it's still pretty heavy. I don't know if there's anything I can do about that. It's just gonna have to be heavy. But we're gonna go into the heat treat portion of things now. This is post heat treat, and once when I get the heat treat done, uh, really I'm just gonna heat it up to as hot as possible. And I'm just gonna dip it in. I'm really just looking for the forge scale so it can have that kind of rugged pattern, that rugged look. And I'm not gonna clean up the edge at all, though it looks pretty good. I'm not gonna clean it up. But then, if I have time, I'm going to weld a spike to the end of it, and I'll show you again where I plan on taking that spike off of. This piece right here I think is going to be my spike, and it's going to be put on like pretty much like that. Kind of get it where I want it to be here. Pretty much like that. See, it looks even more like an orc sword, even just with that, but I should be able to get it on there either today or tomorrow. After heat treat, I can work on cutting it out, but I don't know if I'm going to get into welding, because then I'm going to have to just work on another process. And anyway, the whole point of this project was to be a project, meaning taking more than just one day. And it's getting dark, so yeah. I'll have to come back to it tomorrow, but we're gonna get it heat treated, or at least treated, or tempered, or whatever you want to call it. Then we're probably gonna end the video there. So this is post heat treat. I haven't had it out of the quench for a little while now. It's still really hot, but I can hold it and whatnot. As I said before, it's gonna be heavy, you know. That's just how it is. And it really doesn't look that bad. Look at that, how black it is and how nice it got. Like, I think it looks pretty good. The one regret that I have is that handle. It is way too small for the proportions of this blade. Like, I mean, it looks just fine. It looks just fine, just sitting there. And I'm willing to bet it's going to look even cooler when I put that spike on it. But holding it, it's definitely not a very fun blade to hold. Just because, you know, how unproportionate it is, how heavy it is. So, but that's kind of what I'm working with right now. Anyway, I'm going to take this back inside, set you up, and then we'll talk more about it. So yes, as I said before, this thing is very top heavy. It doesn't have much of a counterweight in the handle because the handle's not that large. But I think that's what kind of gives it the idea of like being like this big barbaric weapon, is that, you know, it's hard to use, it's hard to hold, it's hard to swing around, you know. And because it was made to look like junk, I am so happy with how it looks right now. I am so happy that it doesn't look that great, but I am so happy that it does, because it does look good, because it doesn't look good, if that makes any sense. It's about as hard as it's gonna get. It surprisingly got harder than I thought it would, but and there's kind of a warp in it, a little bit of a warp, but that might have been in there before I heat treated it. I just forgot to straighten it. But either way, it'll be fine. It's hardly noticeable. But this will definitely do what it's made to do. I'm going to try to find some leather to wrap the handle with, because I don't think it'll look good with that green cordage. But yes, the plan next is to weld that spike on it. Now, I asked that you guys give me a little grace, as I'm not great at welding. I'm not good at welding at all. I'm willing to bet if I hit anything with that spike, it'll break off. So, but still, I'm going to do my best to weld. I think that's enough. I think that's just perfect right there. I'm going to do my best to weld this little spike at the end of it. And I think it's going to look so much cooler when I have that. Because like it already looks, even though it's not attached or even cut away from the blank, it already looks like so much cooler. It's going to add more weight to the back, but I don't care. I have a, I don't really like the movie. It's kind of, you know, inappropriate. I'm a Christian. But back when I didn't know anything about the movie, I bought I asked for a replica sword from the 300 for Christmas, and it's it's a replica sword, so it's not made for anything, but it is so big and heavy. It's cool, but it is humongous. It's just, you know, it's crazy, but I don't care. As long as this looks good, I am really excited to get this done. And you heard me talking about the shield. That's why I saved this piece. If I'm going to do the shield, then I want a big piece to do it with. So that's why I saved this piece right here. I think what I'm going to do is cut this part off and use this part, and I'll cut this little end off here too. And then I'm going to use all of this part, cut this to how it needs to be, cut spikes into it to form the shield, and then I'll try to cut a little crease in there like that. So I'm kind of getting just the basics down of a Uruk-hai shield. So yeah, that's what's going to be happening. Anyway, I'm going to get this marked off real quick before but I'll do that off camera. But yeah, I'm really excited to finish this thing tomorrow. I'm going to try to dig around and see if I can find any old leather. If not, I do not know what I'm going to do about that handle. Because like I said, I was originally going to use that green stuff, but it's just, I want to make this, since it's not going to perform well, I want to at least make it look as good as possible. So, but it's technically a usable blade. It is heat treated, and the steel that I took it from, it was a little thicker than that plate steel. So it could very well be high carbon steel, or just higher carbon steel, because it is a welding steel. So the reality of it, that might not be as junk as I think it is. So with that being said, if I wanted to use it, I could. It's just that spike may fall off because, as I said, I'm not great at welding. So anyway, I thank you guys for watching. I thank you guys for all your support. 333 last time I checked views on my last video, and that's a lot for me. As a smaller content creator, I really enjoy doing stuff like this, and I thank you guys for your support. Yeah, but we're gonna get that done tomorrow, so there should be another video posted tomorrow. If I don't get it out, then, you know, I may not get it out, but yeah. Anyway, I thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later.